Most people want freedom, but here's the thing: few are willing to pay the price to create it. In this episode, in this video today, I'm going to be sitting down with really a mentor of mine, someone who I've followed it very closely, his life, Setema Gali. He's a former NFL champion turned elite coach and speaker whose life journey from Super Bowl glory to bankruptcy to spiritual and financial rebirth is proof that anything is possible when you commit fully. In this interview, we're going to dive into the real cost of freedom, the price of discipline, desire, delayed gratification, and the intentional building of wealth over time. Setema is going to break down the consequences of choosing comfort today and the pain that it creates tomorrow, and how to reverse it with purpose, with power, and with a financial IQ. And ultimately what we're going to be going into is a concept that Setema has revolutionized, has breathed life into over the last 10 years, the game changer. So with all of that being said, Setema, my friend, welcome to the interview with me today.
Man, Ryan, it's so good to be here. Thank you for having me. A blessing and an honor. Thank you. I'm looking forward to this.
Setema, you've got a powerful story. When people think about the highs, you've been on those high peaks. You've felt what it's like to be a champion, to be a winner. And you've also felt what it's like shortly after that to go to the very bottom of a cliff once again. So I want to kind of start from the beginning, if you're open to it. And I want to talk about the athletic success that you've gained from Super Bowl champion to getting knocked back down to where you had to go back to work after being a Super Bowl champion. Can you kind of walk us back through where all of this idea of the game changer began?
Yeah. So it actually starts when I was 19 years old. I'm on an airplane in the South Pacific. I'm a missionary from a church, and we call it a mission president. He hands me a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey.
Yeah, that's a good book.
I opened that book up, and man, you want to talk about like the Spirit of God just coursing through me. And he talks about a paradigm shift in that book. And I'm like, oh, like this book is fire. I'm like, dude. And I'm like, have you read 7 Habits? And people are like, dude, get away from me. I'm like, no. and I remember just thinking to myself, I'm going to write a book like this. I'm going to write multiple books like this that change lives. So that was really kind of the beginning point. Go to college, go to the NFL, win a Super Bowl with the Patriots. And I come home, right, short career, and I start doing mortgages and real estate. Now, I always wanted to do what I'm doing now, but back 20 years ago, there was no courses like there are today. Like you can find a course on anything. So I started doing mortgages because that, the NFL money was like, hey, I kind of like having money in my bank account.
Yeah.
A few years into the mortgage and real estate industry, I think like a lot of people, you build a success, like you climb that ladder, and then, it's just like the phrase that says, just make sure the ladder's leaning against the right wall and not the wrong wall. I found myself 4 years into this industry having done really, really well. Like money was not an issue, but my heart and my soul knew, like this ain't it. I'm meant to do more. Nothing wrong with mortgages and money and real estate money. Believe me, when you got that kind of money rolling into the account, whether it's just not an issue, you would think like, oh, I've arrived, but I knew there's something more for me to do. I knew like I'm supposed to be in the domain of coaching and inspiring and unleashing human potential. So, of course, the '08 recession hits, and we start to lose everything. And I say everything. I had a great portfolio of real estate around the country. I had to short sell and get out of those. Cars got repossessed. We went from our 6,000 square foot home. We had just built an 8,000 square foot home, getting ready to move into that. We end up in a 900 square foot townhome. Mm-hmm. And there's no food. We're on food stamps, government assistance, EBT. I'm like, just a couple years ago, we had all this money and when you get beat down, right? And when you get beat down, after a while, you start to doubt yourself. Well, it just came to a point where we couldn't even pay the rent. The rent was like nothing. And I grab my Super Bowl ring. I jump on a flight. I'm crying the whole way because if anyone's ever, to get to a Super Bowl, to get to the NFL is hard, but to get to the playoffs is more difficult. To win the big game, right? It's a handful of guys every year that get a Super Bowl ring, right? Get a championship ring. I give my ring up, I sell it, he gives me cash. Nothing, like I couldn't get out of the hole that I was in. So by 2010, file a bankruptcy, big bankruptcy. Like we're scraping by. I'm borrowing money from my parents. I'm in my mid to late 30s, and I'm like, are my best days behind me? And I always share this because there's people who would listen to, whether it's your story or my story or someone's story, that you're probably there, right? You're like, you're getting beat down, you're losing, you can't figure out how to win, nothing's working, and you might be questioning yourself. And my words are always like, you're just at the beginning now. Like you're just beginning. It's the beginning, because now you get to see what you're really made of, and you get to see how much grit and how much power and like how serious you are about building the thing and living your calling.
Man, that is such a powerful story. I mean, that statement that gave me chills as you said it, are my best days behind me. I mean, how many people listening to this right now, watching this right now, probably feel a version of that sentiment? Are the best days, are the best years, are the best memories of my life, are they behind me? And you talk about having to hit the bottom. I mean, man, you went to the top, Super Bowl ring, handful of guys in the history of the world have got that, and you had to sell that thing for cash. And then to come all the way back down to the bottom to declare bankruptcy and feel like you were really losing everything, but you found something at the bottom. You found something in the hero's journey at the abyss. Tell me a little bit about what you found, because I think this is what's inspired your calling today. It's a calling you've always had, but maybe you just found the courage to tap into it. Tell me a little bit about what you found in the darkest moments of your life.
There was a decision. There was this moment of decision where I had to decide, because I wasn't working out as much. I didn't look the way I looked. I wasn't in shape anymore. I was just kind of letting things go, and I'd show up to church with a smile on my face. I'd show up to, and the decision in the moment was, you either stay on your trajectory and you can say you played football and made great money in the mortgage days. Okay, so you made a few $1 million in the mortgage and you lost it all. You could say that down the road, and your kids will talk about how football was your thing. Or you can pick yourself up, you can dust yourself off, roll your sleeves up, and you go to work, and you fight, and you claw, and you do everything that is necessary and required. And I was like, I remember it was like 2011, spring of 11. I'm like, and I was praying to God. I'm like, God, I'll do anything. Like, I just know I'm supposed to do something great with my life. I know that. That's why I say this, because I know people feel that, those desires that never turn off. And I always say the desires are divine. They really are. When you have these desires to just really help and make a difference, they're divine. That's like the God's way of whispering, like, don't give up. Don't give up. So that's what I found, was like, I found the piece of me that just said, I'd rather like go to my grave fighting and clawing and being committed and like in this battle for greatness and for excellence, rather than sit on my couch reminiscing about the good old days.
Yeah.
And once I made that decision, and once I said, God, I promise you, if you tell me where to go, I will do whatever. And then it's funny, like a week later, I get a call from someone over at Vivint. He'd been trying to recruit me for like two years earlier. He recruited me every year. This was going to be the third shot at it. And he's like, I just think you'd really do great at this door-to-door thing. And I'm like, really, God? Like door-to-door? Really? Yeah. And so, yeah, that's what I found at the bottom, was just that fight again. Like, I'm not going to go. And it was all the fight of, I don't want my sons to see their dad as the guy who peaked in college in his 20s. I didn't want my parents to be like, well, we sacrificed to come to this country. Cool that our son did football, but that he did nothing with the rest of his life. I did not want to go before God and have him say, I told you, I gave you the desires. What happened? So I just knew there was a very sacred duty and a moral obligation to keep going, to keep fighting. And to anyone out there who has those same feelings and sentiments, I'm telling you, man, like the desires are divine. They're very divine. So don't stop. Don't quit.
Man, I love that. I don't think I've heard too many people say what you just said right there, that our desires are divine. And I truly believe that, Setema. When I can truly tap into the thing that lights me up, that drives me, that excites me, that motivates me more than anything, that desire is driving me to become the person that I can become to fulfill that desire. And I think a lot of times we feel like our desires might be somewhat selfish, right? But at the end of the day, if our desires are divine, they're going to put us on the door, knocking doors, or wherever the path leads us, right? To magnify those desires and become the person we're capable of. Now, I want to highlight something that you did, because this might come secondary to you because you've made a lot of powerful decisions in your life. But where does someone find the courage, the clarity, and the conviction to make that life-defining decision? To say, look, it doesn't matter what it takes. It doesn't matter how long it's going to, take. It doesn't matter what I have to do, but I've decided I'm going all in on this desire that I have. How does someone make that life-changing, pivotal decision?
Yeah. I remember, man, excuse me, you talk about these things and it just takes me back.
Yeah.
And I remember I was sitting in this townhome in Pleasant Grove, Utah, and I hated it. The closet wasn't even this is how bad I'm a big dude. There's no walk-in closet. I'm like, I can't even fit in the doors. It's just like so small, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I remember sitting there, and it was like I was like kind of like dreaming. I was like laying on my bed, and I was just thinking like, okay, Setema, you keep trying and you keep trying. And I saw like these two paths. Like it's like there's I want to say Robert Frost, right? Two paths diverged in the woods, right?
Yeah.
Well, I saw one path, which is what I call the default future. And most people, this is what I do as a coach. I'm like, I help people to see the truth because most people are very delusional. Oh, I'm going to do great. I'm excited. I'm like, let's be real. No, you're not. Let's just tell the truth. You're not going to go do it. Okay. And I was looking at this with that set of eyes, like, okay, one path is I settle and I just throw in the towel. And I look at that future and I saw an overweight, unhappy, miserable man whose boys, I'm the leader of my family, so the speed of the team is the speed of the leader. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, so I'm going to be this guy who peaked in his 20s, whose boys might hate me and might shine because they're like, I don't want to be like my dad. I saw my parents, just like disappointed, like sad that their son had so much talent. And I saw this future down there. I just fast forwarded like 20 to 30 years. And I was like, oh, heck no. Like, I don't like that. I don't want that. Like, there was a piece of me that's like, I will rather go through the pain of transformation and the pain of change than to take that pain, that default future. And once I said that, I thought back again. I remembered. I love like Christian scriptures, like remember, retain in remembrance. And it was like, dude, I had seen God work miracles in my life. I had seen miracles. And I'd seen myself overcome major adversities. And I'd seen like the power of belief and the power of declaration and goal setting and mindset. And so I'm like at this crossroad. I'm like, settle, be good with the comfort. Like be good with just being this overweight Polynesian guy who just is like, it's like everyone else, or take a chance and go, quote, build the boat to cross the ocean, to get to the promised land, go climb to the top of the mountain every day to talk with God, and just like, what do you have to lose? You can fail going after excellence and greatness, or you're going to fail doing nothing. I'm like, well, I'm going to take my chances fighting the battle. I'm going to take my chances crossing the ocean. And That's what it was. I did not want to face my future mediocre self. I was like, no, nah. And so I took it. I took the chance. I took a leap of faith, and here we are, man.
Man, I love that. Setema, I think you're tapping into so much powerful psychology. Humans have this unique ability to look into the future, right? And when you look into the future, anything is possible. No one gets to write your future except you. And I think a lot of people, they're afraid to look into the future. They're afraid of what they might see. It's uncomfortable to really honor that desire and project it out to the future. What would your life look like, feel like, and be like if you just chased your dreams, right? That's uncomfortable for people to do. And when I talk to people about money specifically, I always talk to them about you get to choose your hard, right? And I think you're talking a little bit about this. You can choose easy today, right? Don't save, don't be disciplined, don't try to prepare for the future, and then you're hard by default. You're gonna have to face the consequences when you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s. Or you can choose to have a little bit of discipline today, let that discipline compound over a long enough period of time, and then you get to live the life that you want on passive income coming in. So why do so many people, right, as you coach all of these coaches and people that want to level up inside of their life, why do so many people say they want something, but few are actually willing to pay the price to get it?
Such a great question. It's like the $1 billion question, because it's tough. Like we talk about easy, hard, easy in my home all the time too. Like I keep telling my sons, do the hard, necessary, required first things first now. Your life won't be easier later. But if you go easy, hard, easy video games, eat whatever, don't train your body, don't do the spiritual disciplines, avoid church. And I promise you, in a decade or two, you'll look back and say, oh, I see where I went off track. And I say, not to say you couldn't change your life down the road, but the reason why people, in my perspective and from what I've seen, it requires like so much, it requires a dog in you, like a sports metaphor, like you got to have that dog. It requires something that most people are not willing to give or to do or to overcome. It's tough. Like, look, I'll be so real with you, I'll go meet with people. And there's a part of me that's very kind, and I'm like, hey, you can do that. And if they say, hey, will you be honest with me? I'm like, yeah. And like, do you think I was like, I'll cut them off mid-sentence. No, hell no. You ain't doing it. And they're like, what? I'm like, you can't even get up early. You can't even save your money. You can't even go to the gym. You think you're going to go build a 7-8 figure empire? Who are you kidding? It's hard. And it's like, this, if people would just say, okay, I know it's hard. Again, this is on the internet all the time. Choose your hard, choose your hard. I'm like, it is. Choose the transformation and the hard and the discipline. And like, I'm doing a bodybuilding competition right now. So it feels amazing to be lean. I'm down like almost 40 pounds from the top of my bulk. And I'm like, there's days, Ryan, where I'm like, I see why most people will never do this. I want to eat ice cream, and I want to eat some cheese and a quesadilla and some sour cream. I want to eat an In-N-Out burger right now wash it down with like a Dr. Pepper. In the small moment, if I deviate, all of a sudden it sets me back. And most people are not willing to cut off and to be disciplined and to say, I will embrace the hard stuff. So if people just get really honest and say, hey, again, these are all these cliches we see online today because of social media. If I'll just do what most people won't do, you can live how most people will never live, and you can have what most people will never have. And I always say it's so much easier because most people, they quit. They don't have the skin, the thickness, the grit, the heart for it.
Man, I tell you what, that is so powerful, so powerful. I believe in the world that we live in today, it's so easy to lie to others and probably worse off to ourselves about our financial situation, our well-being. So many people I see, they prioritize looking rich over being rich. They go into debt. They have the trappings of wealth, but behind it it's built on a house of cards. And I think that's really where it starts. When you're willing to tell yourself the truth, the facts about your actual financial situation. How much money are you actually making? How much money are you actually spending? And do you even know what you're spending it on? It's crazy. And then what you went to take that truth, that facts, that clarity of where you're at today and to link it to a vision that is meaningful, that is emotional, that is relevant. The details are in the middle, but man, without those two endpoints, those two anchors, it's almost impossible to change financially. I love that that's what you bring out is a desire and clarity and truth in the present moment. That is transformational, my friend. All right, I have two more questions for you. Two more questions. Yeah. And I want to really go deep on this idea. You're getting ready to take over a decade's worth of transformational coaching, and you're getting ready to bring it to the marketplace. I want to talk a little bit about the concept, the book, and the program, The Game Changer. Tell us what you're up to, tell us what you've learned, and tell us what people can find in the Game Changer program and book.
Yeah, the Game Changer book, it started back in 2007. So 2006, making millions of dollars, mortgages, just is doing so well. And I feel this feeling like I talked about earlier, like I'm supposed to be doing something different. So in April of 2007, I do this one-day seminar. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is what they do. So I charge some money, 30 people show up. I have no idea. I just teach for a whole day and everyone's like, dude, that was the best thing ever. And I didn't know you make an offer. I didn't know there's coaching. I just had no idea. Of course, the recession hits. 2008, try to do another one. Have like 40 people show up. And I'm like, let's do another one. 3 people show up. One person walks out, and I talk full speed, full blast, all heart soul to 2 people while I'm streaming on this thing called Ustream. By 2009, like broke, bankrupt. So it started back then. And then after I knocked door to door, I was doing door to door sales. And again, God told me to go knock. And then he told me to walk away when I was doing extremely well. We started doing these programs called Immersion. Immersion was this boot camp. I attended a boot camp. A good friend of mine was my coach. I went to that. I helped him run his for probably a good year and a half. And then we parted ways as friends, and I started to coach. And I just kept doing this intense coaching. And I mean, like, when I say intense, picking guys up, women's group, men's group at 4 a.m., dropping them off at midnight, physical, spiritual, emotional, intellect, goals, ambitions, tools, protocols. They come in, we'd break them down. We'd get so many truths, things that women never shared outside, men never shared. And then we would coach through it and give them the tools and the pathways and protocols. And then in 2023, so that was, again, like 9-10 years, 2023, again, the voice of God said, it's time to be done with this. So we shut it down. And we started to take all the curriculum that we had, again, curriculum of coaching, the men and the women whose hearts and souls came through the program, and we put all that into a book. Because let's be real, most people, a lot of people just can't pay the tuition of immersion. And so now Game Changer has protocols, and it has proven principles of power and possibility to help someone start. Okay, if you open this book up and it grabs you, I mean, I've had a few different editors read it, and they're like, I mean, I'm sure they're selling me on editing my book, but they're like, dude, this thing hooks me right out of the gate. And they're like, oh my gosh, because it's real, Ryan, it's real. Like this was not a book to make you feel good. In fact, I gave it to it was 100,000 words, which is it's decent sized book.
That's a good book, yeah.
Paid a ghostwriter. Ghostwriter cut it down to 40,000 words, took out all the edge and the hardness, and it's kind of warm and fluffy. And I was like, no. So we took the book back. We inserted about 25,000 more words, got, again, just the meat. And I'm like, this is the way this book needs to be. And again, I know I've got probably another 4 to 5 books that will come down the road. That's what Game Changer is. It's to wake you up to be the game changer you were born to be, and to teach you how to do it right from where you stand. And it's not crazy things. It's like practical, tactical, and there's stories and examples. 10 years of face-to-face, in-person, thousands of hours of Zooms, hundreds and thousands of hours of coaching, conversations. It's all inside a Game Changer. So if someone's like, I need to wake up. Someone's asleep at the wheel. Someone's feeling like they're stuck and stagnant. And they've listened to the podcast and they've listened to all the tips and tricks and hacks. I'm like, pick up my book, Game Changer, because it will shake you. It will wake you. It will rock your world, because, again, I'm very inspired when we put this thing together.
Well, I can tell, man. It's coming through on this. So you're doing an event to launch this book. Tell us a little bit about the event that you've got coming up here in a few short weeks. And for those of you interested, we're going to have all of the information to either buy Setema's book or attend his event, or ideally do both. I mean, gosh, you get one shot at this thing called life. Why not go immerse yourself in what Setema's talking about and come out a transformed, on fire individual? So Setema, tell us what you got going on.
So if you get the book, and look, we pay for the book, we ask you to pay the shipping, but you get a free virtual ticket for the one-day event. It's called Game Changer Live. And again, if you want to come in person, right, there's a ticket for that. And to me, it's very inexpensive compared to what we've done in the past. But if someone comes to Game Changer Live and attends and they go all in, by the time they're done, but I'd say even throughout the day, you're going to have a download of very specific revelations for you. I was talking to a gal who came to my program called Shield Maiden, it's the 4-day women's boot camp, 2 years ago. And I saw her at my trip to Utah, and she says, brother, she calls me brother, I received so much revelation in that experience. It was like one of the top 3 in my life, more than anything else. And again, this is a single mom who provides for her kids, covers her bills, and has a business because she has to. So when someone comes to Game Changer, the way that we do it, it's not a normal seminar. It's an experience of download, of revelation, of integration of principles. There's so much deep engagement. And I've told people literally, if you cannot go all in and be fully present, even virtually, just email my office, get a refund, and I'm good with it. And I'm totally good with it. Like, leave. And people are like, I'm serious. And even in our seminars that were 10 grand, I'll tell people, you want a refund? I don't need your money, but if you can't be fully committed to what we're doing here, I need you to get out. And it's like life and death. So if someone's going to come there, I promise they're going to walk away with more clarity than they've had, but also a very specific blueprint on how to apply the principle so they can produce results. Results matter. This is about results, not just feeling good. In your domain, you help people make and save and invest and build their financial wealth. In our domain, we help people produce results across the board. And that's what this game is all about. So if they come to Game Changer Live, be game changing for them. Game changer.
I love that. It is absolutely a game changer. And here's the thing I've noticed in my life, Setema. Whenever I get out of my normal routine, if I change my normal pace and I change my place, I go somewhere to the mountains, or I go to a seminar, I go somewhere where I have a new environment and a new change of pace, that's usually when I have a change of perspective. That's usually when I find out that God has something for me. He's got a message for me. And usually in my normal routines, I'm too busy, I'm too overwhelmed, it's too noisy, and I just don't hear it. I've got to change my pace and change my place to hear that revelation. And I promise you, my friends, God has a message for you. You have a purpose on this earth. And time is our greatest resource, and it's non-renewable. So what are you using your time to create? Setema, I've loved this conversation. I've loved it. It's inspired me. I want to have a game changer, man. I feel like I'm constantly improving my game, but just being with you this last hour has given me a new set of inspiration and wake up. Tell you what, Setema, what a powerful conversation today. I appreciate you bringing the fire and the light today. Get in the room where it happens, my friends. You heard it right here. There is no telling what's possible. You have to ask and get an answer to that question. And probably the greatest place to do it is in a couple of weeks, get in the Game Changer room, Game Changer Live, and get an opportunity to have a direct download from a coach, a mentor who will help open the doorway of inspiration to you. Setema, thank you. Thank you so much for bringing that emotion today, man. I felt it. You shared from your hearts, and that means a lot to me.
Ryan, what a blessing to be here, an honor. Thank you so much, and I look forward to continuing to stay in touch and learning from you as well.